The story goes that in 1517, a monk named Martin Luther nailed his 95 theses to the front door of the Catholic Church, being enraged by the atrocities that they were committing on the people. This one spark created a revolution which would ultimately come about in the creation of the Protestant Church. Without Martin Luther, we would not be here today, and our nice chapel would certainly not look like this. Now, I am not Martin Luther, and this school is far away from the decadence of the Catholic Church. But even still, I'm going to tape my concerns to the wall in hopes that the school will never have to reach that point in the future. Hello, my name is Jordan Maxwell, and I have been a student at Weatherford Christian School for the past 14 years. Before I begin with this video, I would like to clarify that it comes from a place of love, not hate, that I make these comments. All I'm trying to do is expose the flaws that are so clearly evident to lead to the school's failure. The thing that would make me happiest in the world is for this school to succeed and become the Christian community that it's meant to be. I also have the utmost respect for every teacher and staff that works at WCS because I know that by choosing to work here, you have sacrificed something for the greater good. But that does not mean that you are free from judgment. Teachers and staff. While normally it is the teachers who give me theses, you get the first one. And your thesis is, financial success is not evidence of God's approval. Before I begin, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank every teacher who has helped me along my journey. There are a select few of you who have really shown me what it's like to be a Christian, and have changed my life in ways that I could never imagine. It is quite obvious for many of the teachers at this school that they are devoutly in love with Christianity, and they carry it with them everywhere they go. However, to faculty and teachers, for you I have a warning. If you look behind me, you might see something familiar. It's a crossroads. Sorta. It's just like a dirt road and a paved road, but one way leads somewhere. Not really sure where it goes, but this way leads to a nice suburb, nice houses, and beautiful paved roads, and nice mailboxes and white picket fences. It's great. It's amazing. But a certain teacher this year told me that this school was at a tipping point. Either the school sells out to all of the advertisers and investors and marketers and becomes the successful private school that anybody can make, or the school stands up and says no to all of that and just follows Christ wholeheartedly. To that point, I believe we have fallen short, or at least we're heading in that direction. This new chapel we have, it's beautiful, it's amazing, and it brings everybody in, and it's a great time. But are more people really worshiping in it than they were in the gym? Or is it just a nice place for us to take photos? Was building the chapel really about creating a place of worship, or about saying we have a place of worship? Now is the time to decide who we are. Are we going to be the Christian school that makes the hard choices, or are we going to follow the way of the world and do whatever is easiest for us, or whatever makes us succeed the most? Are we willing to risk money and make real sacrifices in order to keep our integrity? Are we willing to tell the investors, no, we aren't going to take your money for that because we have more important priorities right now that we're going to focus our time and energy towards? Or maybe, no, we aren't going to record this event because it distracts us from its true purpose. Additionally, missions at our school has never really been a mindset, but more of a checkbox to hit once a year to say that we did it. It's always been make sure the school is a stable and safe place, and then we can worry about donating our excess later, or maybe whenever God places it on our hearts to give. But I push you to ask yourself, what would the school look like if we gave out of our need instead of our excess? Sure, maybe we wouldn't have as many Chromebooks, maybe the football field would still be small and unpainted, and maybe some of the paint on the walls would be peeling off everywhere. But I guarantee you that the students would be better off. Imagine the kind of impact that the students would feel from seeing teachers act like that and have that kind of attitude. The kind of attitude to make students push for things themselves instead of waiting for the school to buy them a nice fancy facility for them. I hope this school gets poor. Right now we are coasting on the generous donations of patrons, which might seem like relying on the goodness of God to support us through. But is that really what He wants us to do? Will we still be standing whenever the goodies stop? Will we be able to handle not always having the investors on our side? How we treat our money reveals how we run our school. And right now, at least from the student's perspective, the school is just another money-making business. Using the Christian label is a dangerous game. Those are high standards to set for yourself, and right now it seems like this school is online with every other private school in Parker County. Just an upgraded public school with better education and curriculum. Nothing really makes us different other than we might project our image better than others, and sure, we're better than public school, but is that really just our only goal? We should never be content with where we are. Again, I can't emphasize enough that this school is a good, welcoming place to be. But it doesn't mean that we are living up to what we could be. Nevertheless, as soon as we get that idea into our heads that we are good enough, that's whenever we fall further than we ever could. Thank you. To the families, a Christian school does not raise children. Sad to say, this group in particular has some of the worst offenders. The destruction of the instructional family is one of the largest tragedies of our age. And I'm lucky to say that my family has taught me very well, not only through instruction, but also through example. Unfortunately, not all the students at this school can stay the same. While I cannot speak of the majority, the existence of even a few parents who have fallen short dramatically affects the health of the entire school. As it stands right now, this school cannot be a correctional facility for your kids who you refuse to raise. Christian school is not a replacement for parenthood, and it does not excuse your mistakes. Too many times have I seen students who obviously do not have a good relationship with their parents, and it shows every day. I also understand, and I'm glad that so many of you work so hard for your children. You work long hours and weekends for them and give them the opportunity to go to this school, and that's amazing. But if your work takes you away from having a personal relationship with your children, it's not worth it. At all. Not close. The Christian school is merely capable of reinforcing the foundation that a child already has. And that foundation is not given by the school, it's given by you. And if, as a parent, you have given your child a foundation of maybe aggression, self-reliance, and emotional distance, then the school is just going to compound upon that furthermore. Even more than maybe a public school because of how heightened the emotions are at a private school. The Christian school gives the students all of the tools that they need to learn and grow, but they aren't perfect. Your children need you. Don't assume that you're doing a good job or that you've figured everything out. Know that you are, and know because they tell you. You need to be a model of instruction for your kids. This isn't a passive way of life. You need to actively go out and demonstrate the actions you want your kid to have. And do not take this precious time for granted. If you don't, I can tell you firsthand what kind of effect it will have on your children. Anxiety, depression, self-deprecation, aggression, and substance abuse. These are all of the effects that your children will experience without a proper family structure. Again, I do not believe that this really speaks to a majority, and I don't think it's even possible to really tell where that falls. And this isn't really on the school, even though they probably could do more about this. But you really need to take a step up. I think that you guys are honestly the biggest cause of this cycle. Maybe some of you parents didn't have great parents, and sure, maybe that's a good excuse, but that's honestly a better excuse to just not have children. If you're going to be a parent, act like one, and take the step up and be the father and the mother to your children. To all the students, don't listen to all of the criticism I gave to the teachers and parents and use it as an excuse to give up. Take responsibility upon yourself to carry the school forward. A lot of you have been dealt a terrible hand, whether it be familial, mental health, or poverty, but you can't let that be what stops you from escaping. This school is a golden ticket to a better life, and you can't waste it. It is up to you to fulfill those expectations. Firstly, to all the middle schoolers, I'm sorry that you have to exist right now. It's not a great time of your life, but it's time to carry forward. Life really only gets better from here on out, so try not to dwell on the mistakes you make and stay up late at night worrying about if what you said is still being remembered by others. Let the myriad of embarrassing moments wash over you and use them to grow as a person. Let them sink into you and grow into the person you want to be. Since you will inevitably do wrong, my advice to you is to err on the side of caring. If you're going to make a mistake, if you're going to get emotional, be emotional about your friends and care about them too much to where it gets annoying. That's the only thing that you won't regret. To all of my underclassmen, find your friends and hold on to them like nothing else matters. It's almost true. Don't bother yourselves with the drama of other people. Draw close to the friends you have and make memories with them that'll last a lifetime. Always be there for each other and never give up on your friends. Never give up on each other and be prepared to make sacrifices for the ones you care about. And I mean real sacrifices. People often misunderstand what I mean by saying you need to make sacrifices for your friends. It doesn't always mean spending money or being kind or creating plans. Making sacrifices for your friends means turning the other cheek. When your friends are having a bad day and lash out against you or say something that makes you really question if they really want to be your friend, take a breath and help them work through their emotions, even if that means taking a step back. But you also need to keep in mind when it's right to take a step forward, even when it hurts you. Find your group of people and have fun with the little time you have left remaining with them. These years are precious. And seriously, don't waste time hating people you don't have a relationship with. It's just not worth it. You're never going to get anything out of it, and it's just going to make your high school a lot more annoying. I have this funny story where one of my friends was going through something that was kind of like affecting their mental health, and they told me, hey, I think I might want to take a step back because I don't know if I'm like ready to hang out with you. And I had another friend who she would say the same thing to. I said, okay, I understand, I'll give you the space that you need. But my other friend said something that really stuck with me. He said, if you're taking a step back, then I'm taking 2 steps forward. And I mean, that really rocked me, because I thought I was doing the right thing by being like, hey, this person wants space and I'll give it to them. And sometimes that's the right move, but I think you can take 2 steps forward while not being overbearing. You should just always be there. It's always the right move. And lastly, to my senior class, thank you all. These past years with all of you have been a blessing, and I've made memories that I'll never forget. The expectations for this class have always been really, really high, and we've had some questionable people to follow up, but I'm glad I got to spend it with you guys. In a lot of ways, we haven't lived up to those expectations, but I think at the end of the day, we made it through, and we've pretty much agreed to stop hating each other for the most part. We're just going to stick to our own little bubbles and keep quiet. Nevertheless, I hope that everybody will look back in high school and have the same sense of fondness that I do. A lot of people hate Weatherford, and that's very fair. It's pretty ho-dunk country, whatever. But sometimes this past year I've been trying to look at the good in all of it. Shep's is pretty cool. I mean, it's like a classic, it's a Star Wars themed sports bar. Like, that's pretty cool. They have pretty good food. It's fun to go there. First Monday's awesome. Not going to get that in a lot of other towns. The Central Market's great. There's a lot of beautiful places in Weatherford. And I hope that we haven't taken it for granted. But my advice to all of you seniors is to don't stop learning and keep holding yourself accountable. A lot of us still feel like children, even though we're pretty much all adults right now. But as we age, never lose that curiosity and childlike wonder which got you here in the first place. Believing that you have already reached your full potential is the quickest way to prevent yourself from succeeding. The senior year's been pretty different because kind of the first time we've been the top dogs, per se. In 8th grade, it wasn't really like that because we're 8th graders, so nobody likes us. But this time, you kind of can walk around the school and you have a sense of, hey, I know what I'm doing now, even though a lot of us truly do not have any idea what they're doing. But since we're going to be on our own, you need to keep ourselves in check and realize that we really don't have anything figured out, and we need to keep asking for help, even if it's from younger people than us. Which brings me to my second point for everybody. Keep yourself accountable. Long ago are the days of having our parents give us spankings or putting us in timeout for whatever we do wrong. And now, the only punishment we'll get for being a jerk is just kind of like maybe some side eyes or something from our coworkers and college classmates. Nobody's really going to go out of their way to try and help us be better people. So you have to take it upon yourself. Learn to be comfortable admitting your mistakes. To all of you, I hope you all find what you want to do with your life, and I hope you all make a big impact on the world, whether it be literally big or just big in one person's heart. I remember Coach A telling us this story about a woman who grew up in school and she was a good singer. Maybe she would sing for the praise team at her church or something, and she was really good. And she tried to go and do all the professional stuff and make it all work, but it didn't really work out and she never really made any use of it. But come 10, 20 years later, she's married now, she has kids, she has a completely unrelated job at a bank now or something. But that night, as she's putting her child to sleep, the baby's crying and wailing and nothing seems to work. She decides to break out that voice again. And that voice is the thing that soothes her baby to sleep. I think about that a lot. How we all have these small talents that can help the people we don't even know. Sure, I've had a couple moments. I'm lucky to say that I've had a couple moments where I can kind of pinpoint and be like, hey, this is a moment when I really made a big impact on somebody. But there are also some times, maybe it's whenever I'm staying up till 3 a.m. playing video games with Wyatt, or maybe it's whenever a certain couple of our classmates are breaking into a hospital. You know, there are just some moments that you never really know if it's gonna make an impact on them. And I can name several people in this grade who have had that kind of impact on me. All these people have really changed my life. I remember a couple times when I was hanging out with a couple friends, it was Wyatt and Liz. After I dropped them off at their house, I was driving home and I just had this big goofy smile on my face, and I just started crying. I wasn't sad. I was just happy that I was just so happy that I had these friends up by my side. I know a lot of us probably won't keep in contact forever, and we'll probably find newer and better friends later down the road, but I hope none of you forget your friends. And I hope that to some of you I've had a similar impact. I know I won't forget you guys. Thank you.